Welcome to episode 2 of Dreamland season 2, where we get to look back, reminisce and celebrate the World Cup champion 2025 Mirza Ross. Now, the last episode, which kind of did go a bit off piste. What do you expect from us, really? I know, if you've been with Pub Parade for a very good, you do know this show does have its moments. Yeah. Who says we don't make advocacy fun? Who says? Yeah. Who says we don't do that? Yeah. But just, yeah. It was a riot. Yeah, on the last episode we covered the off season, and this time we're going to be talking about looking back on the early portion of the 2024-25 season. So we're going to take you right up until our last game before the World Championship break. Yeah. This is where it's going to get interesting next season, because obviously next season, starting from now, there is no World Championship break anymore, because obviously the World Championship's moved to November. Well, during this summer, we will workshop that one when I'm writing the script. You can do it. Okay. Yeah. So, we're going to go straight into it. So, the sophomore season of the PHL began on Thanksgiving weekend. Woohoo! What a lovely Thanksgiving weekend it was for you. Yeah, it was. Anyway, it was. In case you guys don't know, even though I'm a born and bred Englishman, I do celebrate the American holiday of Thanksgiving. And why shouldn't I? Seeing as how our economy celebrates the American holiday of Black Friday. I just find it so mental how here in the UK we celebrate Black Friday, but we don't actually celebrate the actual holiday. Because, George, everyone here loves free stuff. Free stuff! Exactly. Anyway. So, with the Mirza Ross first game taking place on December the 1st, when they would host the New York Sirens on what would be an emotional night. Emphasis on emotional. Oh, God! As they hoisted, raised, whatever tell you I use. There's lots you can use there. Right, we'll go raise. Raised their inaugural World Cup Championship banner to the rafters of what was then still known as XL Energy Centre. Tell you what, guys, I actually found that transition quite smoothly. I did worry last season, at the end of last season, would I slip up from time to time and still refer to it as that, but no, I've done very well. Well, I think also adopting Nordy might have also helped out as well, George. That is. But go on, I know you want to talk about it. Go on. You on that night were a complete and absolute wreck. From the moment the live stream started, you were gone. You were gone. You could not hold it in. You were literally just gone. You were an emotional wreck. Well, for me, this was my first championship banner. I mean, so over the years, they have raised various different banners, you know, for conference titles, division titles, and even that one league title, which we don't like to talk about, because obviously that doomed us. Yeah. In 2009, everyone thought the Sharks were a big contender to win the Stanley Cup that year. And of course, that was my first year as a Shark. Yeah. And then, of course, what happened? Ducky took us out. Oh. Ducky took us out in the first round. So, yeah, but it would have been Pittsburgh in the final, so... Either way, don't start. Please don't start. Do not start. Yeah, so I mean, this was new territory for me, seeing a championship banner go into the rafters. That was a huge moment. So yeah, I was quite an emotional wreck. But these two did not make it out dry-eyed either. These two did not make it dry-eyed either. No, but we held it in until the banner was going up. Yeah, we held it in until the banner went up. You were just gone from the moment the stream started. Yeah, you were gone. Yeah, you were gone. I know it was. I admit that. I hold my hand. Okay, in fact, hold on. I'll actually do it. Right. Let's make sure this right, I literally hold my hands up. I was the emotional wreck on the night the banner went up. Okay? I'm holding my hands up to that. Okay? Okay? That's what I'm gonna go. Call it now. Call it now for what it is. Yeah, I was a wreck. Let's just call it what it was. Okay? Call a spade a spade. Okay? So, yeah. So, any memories that you can recall from that night? Because I was just like an emotional wreck. It was a huge, huge moment. Because I think we were all like wondering, okay, what were they going to do for the first ever banner ceremony in the PHL? You know, and the banner looks quite beautiful, although you've had a bit of an issue now with the second banner having gone up. Yeah, I think I prefer our 2025 banner to our 2024 one. But of course, you do have to bear in mind that the 2024 one reflects the fact that we didn't have a name or identity. Exactly, whereas the 2025 one, there's no comparing the banners. That's why I'm not gonna have anybody come and ask me which one was more special to you, 24, 25. I'm not gonna go there. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Every World Cup run is special, regardless what year it was. So no, don't even try. Don't try to go there. Don't even try to ask me between the two. You're not gonna get it from me. You will not get it from me. No. Yeah, it was complete emotional. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way. But then again, most teams don't really have bad nights go their way. Yeah, it was a tough one because we did have a decent lead, and then the Sirens took over the game and showed what was their characteristic traits from the get-go, and then it was all, it all kind of fell apart very quickly in the overtime period. But it was a very emotional night. Yeah, it was an emotional night, and one for the history books. Yeah, one for the history books there. Okay, so the Frost got off to a very good start, and a very fast start as well, I should add. Proving why they were the first team ever to win the World Cup. They collected 12 points in the month of December, which included back-to-back wins over the two teams they faced in the World Cup playoffs. Was it quite nice of the league schedulers to make us play Tio and Boston quite early and back-to-back? Yeah, isn't that lovely? Isn't that nice? Yeah, right? Lovely. Lovely. In January, they collected 13 points over the course of the month. And just like last year, we're very much in that mix for first place alongside the Victoire and also the Sirens. Because this was at this point in the game, the Sirens weren't very much in the mix. I think what a lot of people forget about last season is how the Sirens weren't very much in the mix right up until the sector after the Rivalry Series. Correct? That's the best way to describe it, because after the Rivalry Series, the injuries played up and they lost, I think it was like 9 in a row, and that just knocked them out. But yeah. So the Sirens, and we did all say during the off season, if the Sirens had 5 more games, so PHL New York, who's what they were at the time, if PHL New York and that season had 5 more games, they would have gotten in. Oh look, this 24-25, you would get 6 more games and still got nowhere even close. Right, so but the Sirens did have a good start early on, and you did for new coach. Is that sparking new life into what is now the New York Sirens? But the Frost and Mix are right up there, and so were the Sirens. And what's quite interesting is at that point, the Fleet and the Sectors were both in the basement. They were both bottom of the pack. Although with Tio, you could largely blame it on... Here she goes. You could largely blame it... Here she goes. You can largely blame it on the fact that they were without Natalie Spooner for the... Sorry. They were without Natalie Spooner... Sorry, I got tongue-tied over there now. They were without Natalie Spooner for the first half of that season. So you could argue that was Tio's problem. Are you trying to say that the only reason Sectors got into the purse last year because of Natalie Spooner coming back when she did? Yep. Lady! Harsh but fair. Who are you, Karen Brady? Bloody hell. Bloody hell. No, but it was quite important to get a good start, because obviously, you know, whenever you go to a championship, it does take a lot out of you. I wasn't actually noticing that. I mean, I know the AHI always do pay attention to cup fatigue, but I wasn't noticing that with the PHL, because literally, you know, the time between the end of the inaugural season and the start of the first one wasn't actually that long. No, so I wasn't really paying attention to the PHL, and didn't even do it this season, because... I mean, well, you could argue, yeah, probably, but... No. I don't think cup fatigue is a thing in the league right now. No, I don't think it is, but we'll see what happens in the future. Yeah, we'll see what the future. Right. However, things started to fall apart when the league resumed play from the rivalry series and also the Olympic qualifiers. We should put out, I've not put in the script, but we should put out, in February 2025, when the league hit pause to go on the rivalry series break, there was also the final round of Olympic qualification, which would determine who would complete the lineup for Milano Cortina. And that was the week when we decided on Dreamland. Yeah, that was the week when we decided as a trio we were going to come up with the idea for Dreamland, because at the time we wanted to do something to commemorate our inaugural championship, and then obviously after we won our second one, that's when I decided obviously to turn it into a proper full-blown series. It was also in that week when all three of us kind of felt, right, with expansion coming, is this the moment to up our coverage? And all three of us said yes. That's the decision we ever made. Yep. But things started to sort of fall apart and go off the rails. Pick whatever analogy you want to use there. After we came back from the rivalry series, as the team's form started to falter, as their mighty offense struggled to find the back of the net, which included an embarrassing, and it was embarrassing, 8-3 loss to the Charge in Ottawa. I don't even want to hear what you said on that night. I kind of you weren't truly let the side down with your comments. I can't even quote back what you said. I can't even try and remember it to try and quote. Could you remember what I said last year? No, but I like you do like pitiful. That is the bit what you just said. Maybe go and check out on season 2 if it was there. when George did the recap for February 6th. Yeah, see it's there. No, what you said after that game, I never want to hear that again from any one of us. Never. That was disgraceful what you said. That was disgraceful. I never want to hear one of us say anything like that again. Yes, it was bad, but you look at the league's results across the past 3 seasons, that's a rare anomaly. That is actually a rare anomaly. And it wasn't even the biggest margin in that season. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But oh god, that was a dark night. That was a dark night. And they only managed to, in that month of February, collect a total of 4 points, with the bulk of those points actually coming from a regulation win over the Red Hot Victoire and the team's first ever franchise win in Montreal. Yeah, Montreal's been that one barn that we really have struggled in. I mean, in Season 1, we struggled both in TO and in Montreal, but we kind of have now picked up our stride with TO. I think the last time we lost in TO was probably in Season 1. You can't see regular season alone. I was about to say, playoffs. Yeah, but you're just counting regular season alone. Right, okay. I was like, hold on. But yeah, we only had 1 win so far in Laval. And that was what was worrying you two about the possibility of facing Montreal. I remember at the time, going into the World Championship break, you two were already starting to think about what would happen if we were bumbled to be picked again. And you two were like, didn't want to face Montreal. And I was trying to be like, well, I don't really think in this league we can afford that. But, but February was a bad month. It was a bad month. And unfortunately, it was only going to get worse, because in March, things didn't get any better. Now, I remember you going into March last year, you said we have to have a March similar to what we had in Season 1, compared to what we see in February in Season 2. Because you go on the bottom. In Season 1, we went unbeaten in the month of March. And that put us in a really good stead coming out of the World Championships that year to then go for a good run at first place. That was fueling your perception of, let's go for first place, because we know we can do it. And we would have the advantage of picking our first opponent over what would have been Boston, and then probably might have been maybe Montreal, because Tio probably would have got second place that year if we got our act together. Yeah. Sadly, March not getting easier. The team only collected 9 points, and to make matters worse, the Frost would go into the World Championship break outside of the playoff picture, thanks to Ottawa having games in hand and made the most of them, which put Minnesota seriously at risk of missing the playoffs. There ends the script. That's a brilliant cliffhanger to episode 3. But yeah, it was just like. And I think if I didn't follow the World Championships, it would have been a very long and strenuous 3 weeks worrying over the situation and looking at our main schedule, which did of course include a game against Ottawa in Ottawa. So we were against New York, who at that point had already had our number. Oh, what difference it makes. Oh, now who's quoting song lyrics? Oh no, because no, I think the actual lyric, it's what difference a day breaks. Well, for that, yeah. But a lot of people in the terms of the saying go, what difference a year makes? Yeah, that's not how the song goes. No, it's a different song. That's a different song, mate. That's a different one. Yeah. How else you put that? Because obviously you did not follow the World Championships that year. Although you did make quite a fair amount of side comments. You did. You did. You knew the World Championships 2025 was going to be in Czechia. You knew it was going to be in Europe. Me and Eddie were going to have it easy. We're going to find it easy to follow. You knew what was coming. Yet you still chose to make side comments. You know you would not follow it. You know you were taking on a 3-week holiday. You still chose to make side comments. You jinxed Faria. You jinxed Faria. Oh, what you said? Oh, I don't think Sweden should be in Group B. I think they should be in Group A. You jinxed Faria. There was also when we first saw the signs of him slacking off the Swiss. He's still doing it! He's still doing it! Even though they've now just won bronze. Italy won bronze back in Milano. Coutinho still slagging the Swiss off. Oh, there's every chance that could still be an anomaly. Oh my God! Jesus Christ! To any of us, to any of our Swiss viewers, I can't apologise enough, Hazel. She lives in Germany. I can't apologise enough, Zoe May. She might also live. No, she does live in Switzerland. Why does she speak in German then? Because the Swiss have 4 languages. So that's why. It's like Switzerland's actually massive. Anyway, yeah. So how did it feel for you? Because obviously you did not follow the World Championships. No, and really that should have then played my mind, the fact that we were now outside of the bubble, or finding some form of stride, despite their inconsistencies. I think if you two were not following the World Championships, I would have really struggled. So if you two were not following it in the route I was in, I would have literally struggled. Yeah, because I don't think it didn't really bother us that much because we were too focused on the World Championships and what we were going to do if Tina said one, what would we do about the shows. So obviously we didn't because we didn't have, not because we lost that, because we didn't have time. No, because it wasn't that long of a turnaround from the World Championships in 2024 to the remainder of the 2024 season of the Hero Championships. We didn't really have time to do something for that in that longer season. And that's one of the beauties of the World Championships now being moved to November, is it means that we can, if we want to, we can do stuff for the World Championships on Purple Rain, and so we can do that going forward if we so want to. So that just works so much better, but it also is going to change how our schedules will come in non-Olympic years. So we'll see how it goes. We'll get that for next season. But honestly, it's like this first portion, so from December to March, it kind of felt like a game of 2 halves in a way. Oh, look at you, Protein Soccer references. Ah, fuck! Oh, he's off! He's off! He's gonna go bang his head against a brick wall. There we go. Yeah. Oh, he's now kicking the wall! Why did you two let me do that? Why did you two let me do that? You know I can't stand football! Why did you two let me do that? You should have stopped me! Why did you two let me go and do that? Honestly, you should have stopped me right there. Yeah. So it was basically, first half did great, was competitive, and then the second half, it kind of followed. So you have no clue. So you go to the World Championships, you have no clue what kind of team you are going to get when you come out of it. It was just, Yeah. There was a real scare. Agreed. There was a real scare that we potentially could have missed the playoffs. How embarrassing would that have been to have been the inaugural champions in 2024 and then miss out in 2025? We would never would live that down. Nope. Nope. Nope, we wouldn't. No, we would never live that down. Nope. No. I mean, it's still playing draws what happened in 2015. Yes, because in 2015, these two in the air show were the defending Stanley Cup champions. They won it in 2014, and then in 2015 failed to qualify. And that was the first time it happened. It had happened in quite a while. That the Stanley Cup champion the previous year did not even make the playoffs the following year, and it was quite a big deal. And it's taken a good decade for that to happen again. Because it's taken quite a while for that to happen again. Because obviously the Panthers this year have not made the playoffs. Hallelujah. 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 Bye bye, Stanley. We'll miss you. Yeah. Stanley down. Just Thunderbug to crush. I feel like we are all sick to death of Florida being in the Stanley Cup Finals. So one's down and definitely out for the count. Still another to go. So yeah. But yeah, I think Billy's right. It would have been an almighty embarrassment that we never will have lived to live from. And chances are it probably will happen one day. Agreed? Yeah. Chances are one day, like in the NHL, you'll have the PHL where the previous year's World Cup champion doesn't even get to compete for the chance to defend their crown. And that probably won't be no fault of their own. It'll be just because of the way the league's been built. With the parity from day one. Yeah, that's how I see it. Agreed? Okay, great, good, yeah. But no, but there was going into that World Championship break, there was a very big scare that, oh my god, this team's not going to make it. This team's not going to make it. Oh my god. Now, if it had been the case, we would have had no problem watching the entire World Cup playoffs without our Mercer Frost. Yeah, we will have no problem doing that. But I think we would have left a very sour taste in our mouths had we had missed the playoffs and knowing that the previous year we just watched we won the cup. Yeah. So I think it would have stung a bit more if we were the defending champions and missed the playoffs rather than just missing the playoffs as a result. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy how only 2 teams now have an active playoff streak, us and Montreal. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. Is there anything else you want to cover? Because obviously we've come to the end of the script. We get to this point of the show where it's like, well, we might end up going off piece or do some ramblings to waffling to finish off. And no, not the sugary treat. Pity. Only in Belgium we got to get those properly, George, because let's face it, the English can't do decent waffles. As seen in Bake Off 2017. Yep. Yeah. Tell you what, we get the next episode script up so I can let you know what's coming on the next one. And then you two, if you've got more you want to say, you can do that, or I will just simply sign us off. Okay. So, is there anything else you want to add? That, or is that just going to be? I just want to add how I kind of felt we were a very strong team throughout the first half of the season. It's just unfortunately February really bit us in the arse. we try to think of which person did it. Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Us Brits fight very hard to do the American pronunciation, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I think if we got maybe 1 or 2 other extra points in February, then maybe it wouldn't have been such as alarming. Well, it still have been tight, but I mean, if we had got, say, 2 extra points or 3 extra points in the month of February, it still would have been tight, and Ottawa still would have been right on our heels, but would have been less worrying for those who were not going to follow the World Championships like you were. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was impressive first half. Unfortunately, the way February marked it out, it really was a very nasty health scare. It did. Speaking of scares, on the next episode, we are going to cover the dog fight. Because it was a dog fight. Yeah, no offense. None taken. No offense. We're going to talk about that dog fight to get in to the 2025 World Cup playoffs. Oh my. That is what's going to come up next time as we continue to reminisce and celebrate the World Cup champion 2025 Minnesota Frost.